Back in my day, when I started bodybuilding in the 1980s, and then escalating probably to peak muscle tech time in the early 2000s, they pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed this concept of you must have a protein shake after your workout, otherwise you're going to become catabolic. They built that up more and more and more. They twisted a bit of science. They called it the anabolic window, and it was sort of, within the first 30 minutes of your workout, you've got to have a protein shake, you've got to slam a shake down. This was all done in order to sell supplements as usual. In almost all cases, I would say 99% of cases, real food is a better option than a shake. Why is that? Well, real food basically contains a broader spectrum of nutrients. Real food will have things in it that supplements can't have in it. That bastard there. Real food overall is just better for you than Frankenstein food. Does this mean, as some trainers seem to think, that we should throw the shake out, or the protein shake should be reserved for basically being a convenience food option for when we can't get other food? Well, having a protein shake as a convenience food option is certainly a good way to look at it. Convenient, easy to mix. You put a bit of protein powder in a blender bottle and put it in your bag. All you got to do is shake it, mix it with water. You get some decent protein at times that you might not be able to get it in. This is a great use for protein powder. But what I really want to talk about is this concept of having a protein shake after your training. For me, thinking as a personal trainer, I would always want my client to have a protein shake after they train. And I'll tell you why. It's very simple. It's the one time I 100% know I can control what they're going to eat. I'm going to repeat myself. It's the one time that I 100% know what they're going to eat. I want to ensure that they're getting in, ideally, a little bit of glutamine for gut health. It's not this magic recovery thing that they used to bullshit about, but for gut health, and everybody could do with improved gut health. I want to give them a little bit of creatine. Creatine is totally non-controversial. It's a supplement that just works. It doesn't just work to help you get stronger. It works to help, it works in a neuroprotective capacity as well, so it helps with brain health. Super, super, super important stuff. And I want to get good quality protein in, because this is very important. Now, is there such a thing as the anabolic window? Science has looked at this, and science has looked at this and said only a tiny little bit. So, first of all, I always want to play the edges. If I can get a 1% advantage, I'll take it if it's easy. Not if it's tremendously hard or tremendously expensive, but if it's easy, I'll take that 1% advantage, especially if it's giving me other smaller advantages that accumulate. So if it gives me a 1% advantage, to get that shake in, it doesn't have to be, immediately after your workout, but to get that shake in within 30 minutes of my training session, I'm probably going to do it. A lot of people might train fasted. I definitely want to get something that's easily digested into my system as soon as possible. A lot of people are wanting to build muscle. I do prefer higher protein intake than normal for people who want to build muscle. And again, a lot of people don't want to eat, let's say 4 meals a day. A lot of people don't want to eat 4 meals a day. Let's get that shake in after training, especially after training when you don't feel like eating a big meal. The other issue I have bouncing around here a little bit with the studies is that I'm willing to bet a significant sum of money that the studies that have looked at the advantages or disadvantages of having a shake immediately after a workout, they've been training people like 6-year-old stamp collectors. The problem with most of these studies, they train people like 6-year-old stamp collectors. If you train somebody properly, you train hard, you push them to the limit. I think, this is maybe bro logic, but my bro logic tells me that the body wants to, I do go back to the anabolic window thing, but the body wants to suck things up a bit faster. Again, do I think it's magic? No. Do I think if you don't like shakes and you go and have chicken and rice immediately after you train, do I think that's a bad thing? No, I don't. But for me, it's this thing. I think there's a tiny, tiny advantage. I think for the vast majority of people, they don't want to get something into them straight away. They're probably not eating for many, many hours before their training and during their training. So if people are looking to build muscle, we want to get protein in fast. But more than anything for me, it's a control thing. So when I train, I always have, I tend to train fasted, and I'll have a shake after my workout. You know, in my shake, I will have about 40 grams, I'm not over religious on it, I have about 40 grams of protein from beef protein powder. Again, the great thing we have these days, we have vegan options, you know, with plant-based proteins, which are just pea-based proteins. We've obviously got whey protein, and now we've got beef protein as well, and that certainly works for my stomach. And I will have about 40 grams of beef protein. It's very, very bright. I'll have about 40 grams of beef protein. I'll put in about 20 grams of glutamine, which is a heavy dose of glutamine, but I use that, again, I'm using glutamine primarily for my gut health. I'll put 5 grams of creatine in. That's the time I take creatine. So I don't take creatine every single day, I just take creatine after I train. And I tend to put in a scoop of the superfood Trichotrients powder that UP puts out, because that gives me, what does it give me, 20 different fruits and greens, makes it taste better, and it's just an easy, convenient way and a religious way for me to regularly get that in. So this post-workout protein shake, it's not essential. If you don't want to take it, you're not all of a sudden going to lose your gains and training doesn't become worthless. But for me, on a balance of things, it presents enough of an advantage that it's something that I prefer. And especially when looking at personal training clients, when looking at anybody, when looking at any normal person who has to kind of work a little bit to get the healthy food in, ensuring that your client gets that nutrition in at that time, to me, it makes the most sense possible.